I love the smell of Play-Doh. It's really unmistakable smell. According to the Play-Doh website, the scent itself is actually trademarked. It's formed through the combination of what they call a sweet, slightly musky, vanilla-like fragrance with these slight overtones of cherry and the natural smell of salted, wheat-based dough. You have to admit, that sounds pretty delicious, which, no wonder so many little kids try to eat it, right? Play-Doh, of course, has been using this same recipe since 1956, which means that kids, parents, grandparents, and even great-grandparents all recognize that same Play-Doh smell. Now, like its more professionally used cousin, clay, Play-Doh can actually be used to mold and shape things. And also like clay, Play-Doh is a very stable material. I mean, you can shape a piece of Play-Doh into any shape you want, and then you put it in an airtight container so that you can trap the moisture, of course. And that Play-Doh will actually hold its shape almost indefinitely, unless some external force, of course, acts on it to reshape it. Even if gravity itself acts to distort the shape, with very little effort, you can help that Play-Doh maintain its shape over time. It's remarkably stable. But at the same time, Play-Doh is also remarkably malleable. And once you start to work with it, you can form it into any new shape you want, depending on the amount of time and the amount of effort that you want to put into the process. Another great thing about Play-Doh is that it doesn't have to be thrown away once it's dried up a bit. If it's just dry on the outside, but still a little moist on the inside, all you need is to massage in a few drops of water, and you can salvage that Play-Doh. But even if it's completely dry, it can still be broken down, mixed with water, and then turned back into that moldable Play-Doh that we all know and love. Psychologists and neuroscientists alike now know that the human brain is a lot like Play-Doh. It's incredibly stable, while at the same time, it's remarkably malleable. That means that your personality style, your strengths, your weaknesses, your behavioral tendencies are all both very stable and yet somehow still remarkably malleable. It's stable, meaning that your behavioral tendencies are fairly predictable. I mean, of course, that's not 100%, obviously, but it also means that the way you are today is, in all likelihood, the way that you will be a week from now, a month from now, a year from now, even a decade from now. It's stable. Or, as I heard one surly old inner city veteran say years ago, he said, "People change, but not much." But also like Play-Doh, your personality is remarkably malleable if you're willing to put in the time and the effort to reshape it. Now, don't misunderstand what I'm saying. I'm not talking about being able to become a different person overnight. When I use the words time and effort, I really mean time and effort. Some things about your personality are so deeply ingrained in your brain's neural network that changing them could take years of concentrated effort. But it is possible. If you've ever found yourself thinking or saying things like, "That's just who I am," or "I've been this way my whole life, I'm not changing now," it's too late for me to change. You can't teach an old dog new tricks. Well, what you're really saying is, I don't want to put in the time or the effort to change. Now, that's fine. You just need to be honest with yourself and admit that you could change if you really wanted to. Here's the bottom line. If there are things about your personality, your strengths, your weaknesses, your behavioral tendencies that cause you to repeatedly stumble in certain situations, you have the God-given power and ability to change those things so that future versions of you no longer stumble in those situations. Instead, you stick the landing.